All right, today we're shrinking down to explore this tiny, ancient world of plants. I'm talking about the stuff that carpets our forests and clings to city walls, things most of us just walk right past without a second thought. Let's get a closer look at the world of bryophytes.
Yeah, you've definitely seen them. You know that soft, velvety green stuff that pops up after it rains? Clinging to rocks, trees, old brick walls, it's everywhere. And while it's a super common sight, what you're actually looking at is way more complex than it appears.
So that's the scientific name for this whole group, bryophytes. And these things are true pioneers. I mean, they represent one of the very first leaps plants ever took from water onto land. We're talking way, way before the first flower ever bloomed or the first giant tree took root. So to really get a handle on them, we're going to use this single textbook illustration as our guide. That's it. We're going to break down every single label and diagram you see on this page, piece by piece. And by the end, we'll uncover the surprisingly complex world hidden inside these simple-looking little plants.
Okay, so the textbook gets right to it. It tells us we're basically dealing with two main types here, mosses and liverworts. And it tells us exactly where to find them, moist, shady areas. Now that moisture, it's absolutely critical for them. Because as we're about to see, their structure is so simple they can't really move water over long distances. They pretty much have to live right in it.
So let's start with the first example on our diagram, the liverworts. And we're looking at a specific type here called Marchantia. Okay, so right away, the diagram shows us two different looking plants, and there's a good reason for that. Just like a lot of animals, these Marchantia liverworts actually have separate male and female forms, and you can see they look pretty different from each other. All right, now let's look at the main body of the plant. It has a special name, a thallus. And this is a huge clue, a key secret really, to understanding all bryophytes. See, unlike a rosebush or a big oak tree, they don't have complex, specialized parts like true roots, stems, and leaves. It's a much simpler, kind of flatter design, which really points to how ancient these things are. So how can you tell the male and female plants apart? Well, just look at the structures rising up from the main body. The female plant, the one on the left, it's got this stalk with a really distinctive kind of umbrella-shaped top. That's called the archegoniaphore. Now look at the male plant on the right. See how its structure is flatter, more like a disc? That's the antheridiaphore. But they do have some things in common. See those little circular things on the main body? Those are called gemmacups, and they're used for asexual reproduction, which basically means they use them to clone themselves. Pretty cool, right? And then down at the bottom, you can see these little hair-like filaments called rhizoids. Now, these are not true roots. Their main job is just to anchor the plant to the ground. All right, so that's the liverworts. Now let's shift our focus over to their more famous cousins, which are also right here on our page, the mosses. First up, we've got sphagnum moss. And you can see right away, this looks totally different from that flat liverwort, right? It's more upright and it has a clear central axis with branches coming off it. The diagram even points out a specific archegonial branch, which is a fantastic clue that, just like the liverwort, it's got specialized parts for sexual reproduction. And now for our second moss, Funaria. At first glance, it looks simple enough. You've got some leafy parts at the bottom and a stalk growing out of the top. But this simple-looking little plant is about to reveal the most fascinating secret of the entire bryophyte world. Because you see, this isn't just one plant. It's actually two totally distinct life stages, living together as one. This dual identity, this two-stage life cycle, this is the defining feature of all bryophytes. Okay, let's zoom back in on that Funaria illustration. We really need to break down what we're seeing here, because it's not what you might think at first. Do you see it? That tall stalk with the little capsule on top, that's not just a stem or a flower. It is literally growing right out of the center of the leafy green part below. They're connected for sure, but they actually represent two completely different generations of the plant. So here's the crucial breakdown. That main leafy green part that you think of as the moss, that's the gametophyte. Think of it as the main dominant plant. And that stalk and capsule growing out of it, that's the sporophyte. It is a completely separate stage, and here's the crazy part. It is entirely dependent on the gametophyte for all its water and nutrients. It literally cannot live on its own. Let's put that even more simply. What you normally think of as the moss, that green leafy carpet, is the gametophyte. Then, when it's time to reproduce, it grows this whole other structure, the sporophyte, which pops up to produce and release spores. It's 2 generations living as one plant. All right, let's pull all of these details together. So, what's the fundamental blueprint for a bryophyte, based on everything we've just pulled from this one single textbook page? Okay, here are the key takeaways. First, bryophytes are mosses and liverworts. Second, they absolutely have to have those damp, shady spots to live. Third, they use those simple rhizoids to hang on, not true roots to drink water. And the big one, they have that totally unique 2-stage life cycle, with that dependent sporophyte growing right out of the main gametophyte. So, next time you're out for a walk, I want you to do something for me. Find a patch of that green carpet on a rock or a tree, and really get in close. See if you can spot those tiny little stalks, the sporophyte generation, reaching up from the leafy gametophyte world below. Because now you know, you're not just looking at some simple little plant, you're looking at an entire, tiny, 2-stage world.